Hello, it's your boy Davidoff. Welcome back to Movie Monday. So after watching Back to the Future for the first time, I really got in the middle of watching movies again. So I'm going to watch Indiana Jones. It's literally Monday night, and I'm going to watch a couple Indiana Jones movies because why not? So the first one is Raiders of the Lost Ark. There's only 4 movies. I thought there were more for some reason, but there's 3 from the 80s and 1 from 2008, and there's apparently a 5th one coming out in I don't know when, but it's coming out apparently. I think it's a reboot with a different actor. I can't remember the details, but that's different. I'm watching the first 4 movies, the only 4 movies so far, and I assume the 2008 one was just a return, I guess. I don't know. We'll get to that when we get to it, but I just started watching it, and I did not know these are made by Lucasfilm. I'm kind of getting Star Wars vibes, I'm not gonna lie. Obviously it includes the legendary Harrison Ford. But yeah, it's like an adventure movie, isn't it? I don't know much about it, not going to lie. I know the look of Indiana Jones, I've seen screenshots, but that's about it. I haven't seen anything Indiana Jones related ever. But I heard it's adventure type, and when I was younger, I loved adventure movies. So yeah, this is like an action adventure, I think, so I'm looking forward to this. Yeah, they're like 2 hours each as well, so they're not very long movies, which is good. I can get through them faster, but I'm looking forward to this for sure. Directed by Steven Spielberg. I'm already sold. This guy's got a proper whip, a big whip. So I'm 35 minutes in, and I'm really liking it. I like the direction they're taking with this. It takes place during World War II, I think, so the villains are basically Nazis, so that's one thing. But apart from that, yeah, it's very. I like what they're doing with it so far. So yeah, I'm definitely impressed. Marion is killing me, man. Marion is killing me. I can't remember what country they're in. I've forgotten now. They're somewhere in the Middle East or North Africa. They're somewhere in that region, and they're fighting off some people in Indiana Jones and Marion. And you see Marion defending herself, right? She's getting this pan, and she's hitting a couple guys with it, right? But it does not look anything like her hitting him. It just looks like she's tapping him. She's like doing this. I mean, obviously, you're not actually fighting when you're acting, but at least make it look real. That looked ridiculous. I'm sorry, that looked ridiculous. And it's not even a bad thing. It's entertaining. It's entertaining, but seriously, when she hits people with a pan on the head, she's like hit them. You're tapping him. You're giving him a nice massage, head massage. What on earth? Oh, this whole sequence is funny. There's a big guy who turns up and he starts showing off with his knife, and Indiana Jones just shoots him. He's just like, I don't have time for this rubbish. He just shoots him and walks off. Having a good time here. It's around 40 minutes into the movie. It's 41 minutes now, so the last few minutes of the movie. This whole sequence is just. It's something else. It's something else. You know, a lot of the music definitely gives me Star Wars vibes. I do wonder if, like, you know, the theme is kind of inspired from it in some ways. It's not like the main Star Wars theme, but like certain scenes from Star Wars sound similar to certain scenes from here. Music-wise. Nothing else is similar. It's just the music. There are way too many snakes for my liking. Hey, that whole chase sequence with the truck was so damn good. That was elite. That's what it was. That was elite. And there's still 20 minutes left. It's fantastic. I want more. Which is I'm going to watch the second one straight after. I definitely recognize Indiana Jones' theme song. Do 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 do. I've definitely heard that somewhere else. Never seen an Indiana Jones movie ever, but that theme song was definitely familiar. Anyway, yeah, I think the movie's getting to its climax now. Alright, so no context as to what scene it is or who's involved, but there's a character who's speaking, and there's a fly on his face, and it looks like he eats the fly. And then you see the fly again, like 2 minutes later. That's like 30 seconds later, not 2 minutes. I'm just like, wait, is that on my screen? I touched my screen? No, there's no fly there. Then the fly just disappeared. I'm just like, wait, what? Why was there a fly on the screen? And then I googled fly Indiana Jones, and there's videos on it, articles. Did Paul Freeman accidentally eat a fly in Raiders of the Lost Ark? Well, apparently he didn't, but that is a very random thing to find in a movie, for sure. Also, there's another point where Indiana Jones escapes from somewhere, and you see someone sitting down in the corner, and he's not moving. I'm just like, wait, who's that? Is that a crew member? Okay, the climax did not go the way I expected. I was like, what? Mind blown. That's out of context, by the way. If you've seen the movie, you know what I mean. Yeah, so the movie just ended, and I am definitely going to watch the second one right now. There's a character called Wuhan. The less said, the better. There's a scene where a few characters fall out of a building into, like, tents above it. They're not tents, but the things you put above a shop. And they fell into a few of those. That reminds me a lot of a scene from Rush Hour. I think it was Rush Hour 3. I don't know why I automatically thought of those movies. As far as I know, this one I think is a prequel compared to the first one. It takes place like a year before the first one. And then the third one takes place after the first one. And then there's a fourth one that takes place like 40 years later. It's an interesting timeline. They did a movie, then what happens before, then what happens after. Okay, whatever. I'm on board. Hey, the mine chase scene in this. I'm watching the Temple of Doom. Did I mention that? I'm watching the second one, obviously. Temple of Doom. I didn't mention the title. I should be doing that. But this is still going. But this mine track chase scene is just so damn good. It's thrilling. It's mad. It's a great scene. I think that bridge scene in the climax just shows that Dr. Jones is a very crazy man. And I approve. So it's over now. Temple of Doom was pretty damn good. I'd still prefer Raiders of the Lost Ark. I definitely think that was a better movie. This one I had a good time with though, so really enjoyed it. Can't watch a third, unfortunately. It's almost 4 AM and I got work tomorrow, but I'm definitely going to pick this up again in a couple of days or so. So yeah, I got a day off on Wednesday, so I might just watch the other two movies. And then I want to start watching Harry Potter movies. So that might be next week's episode. Alright, I am back on Friday night watching The Last Crusade. So this one is a sequel. And yeah, apparently it includes Sean Connery. So I'm looking forward to seeing that legend of a man. Right now there's some guys on a horse. On horses, sorry. Guys on a horse. This I don't know what the scene is, but someone just falling off their horse. You know, that felt too real. When the guy fell off his horse, I felt like they didn't plan that. I feel like he fell off during the shoot on purpose. Not on purpose, sorry. He just fell off. An accident. And they thought, let's keep that in. That was funny. So I'm almost an hour in, and it's really good. There's just been a really good twist as well. I kind of could have seen it coming, but there was an interesting twist. My favourite part so far, I think, is the speedboat chase. I kind of wish it was longer, to be honest, because it was a really cool speedboat chase. But yeah, so far, story is good, action is good, it's quite funny. So I think I am looking at Hitler. An actor, obviously, but yeah. So there's a scene where they're escaping from a Nazi building. His dad got kidnapped. His dad is trapped. He's got to go save his dad from this Nazi encampment on the German border. And the escape scene was really fun to watch. Then they had to go to Berlin, and I literally just saw Hitler. So I'm pretty sure it's Hitler. Obviously, the antagonists of this, I guess, original trilogy are Nazis, but still, it's always strange seeing it in a fictional movie. So there's a Nazi guy trying to find them, and Indy, what he does is he disguises himself as a ticket officer, and he goes around saying tickets please, and people are like, they're not showing the tickets, and then he knocks the Nazi out the window onto the floor below. And he said no tickets, and then everyone else started showing their tickets. So it was quite a funny scene. I made it sound dead, I made it sound boring, but in the context of the movie, it was quite funny. You know, the interactions throughout this movie between Indiana and his dad are just hilarious in general. They just don't get along, and it's just really funny. Sean Connery and Harrison Ford, fantastic performances here. It's brilliant. It's like watching a buddy cop in a way. Like, I love that dynamic of like two different characters. that are not really that similar, but they got to get along for the sake of, I guess, the mission. Except this time it's father and son, but still, like, that sort of like thing where it's two different personalities that have to work together. I love the sort of storyline. I love buddy cop movies, and this one is not a buddy cop movie, but in some ways it feels like one, because they just really don't get along and it's just really funny. And they just took out a plane of birds. Like, can you do that? Can you, when you chase, let's say there's a plane coming towards you and you chase birds that are on the floor and they all hit the plane, does that stop the plane? I guess it could in theory. No, it can. No, either way, there was a scene like that in this, and it was quite mad. You know that screaming noise you hear in movies where a man falls to his death? It's like, ow! You know, I mean, I made it sound weird, but it's like that. I can't do the impression of it, but I always hear the same screaming noise, and I've seen it in war movies. I've seen it here just now. Seen it in Lord of the Rings, 100%. That sound effect of a guy screaming as he falls. I wish I could imitate it so I could like tell you what I mean, because you would know if I told you. But I don't know. I guess it sounds hilarious. Maybe that's why they keep it in movies. Indiana Jones on a horse versus a tank. Something tells me that we should call Rambo, because this reminds me of Rambo 3. Man just got a triple kill. Man just one banged a triple kill. Hey, that whole tank sequence was so good. So good. I love his theme song, man. Indiana's theme song. Also, like, that tank scene was so good, and it wasn't even the climax. The climax was just crazy. It was just crazy stuff. I guess they planned this as a trilogy originally, because the third one released a while later. I mean, the fourth one, sorry, released a while later. But I'm looking forward to watching it. It's also the lowest rated one, so I'm kind of worried. But I always go with an open mind and think of my own opinion. But the original trilogy, I think, was brilliant. I really enjoyed all of it. I don't know how I'd rank them. I still think the first one is the best one, but they're all good in their own way. They're all fun, they're funny, they have good action, story's fine. Harrison Ford is fantastic as Indiana Jones, so I'm really enjoying watching it. Also, he was named after the dog, apparently, so that's quite funny. Anyway, yeah, it's 4 in the morning. Luckily I start work at 2 in the afternoon, but still, I need to get to sleep. Alright, it's Saturday night. It's time to watch the last one. The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I think this one is called. So yeah, this one came out in 2008, so for 20 years after the original trilogy, so a lot more modern. I'm looking forward to how this one goes. Although, to be fair, like, the originals took place during World War II, even though it was released in the 1980s. And this one, I think, takes place in the 80s, but also released in 2008. So I think the difference between this movie and the first movie is the same difference between the year that one takes place and the year this one takes place. I don't know if I confused you there, but yeah, anyway, it's more modern, even though it's not really modern. It takes place in the 80s, but, you know, more modern compared to the original trilogy. It should be interesting to see what this is about. It'd be like a return to the character, I guess. I don't know, but I'm intrigued. So I just googled if you can survive a nuke inside a fridge, and half the results were about this movie. So that's all I will say. I love how they always have that scene of Indiana teaching, then his fellow professor comes in and watches the class. Like, they've done that scene over and over again, and seeing it 20 years later is kind of interesting as well. I like how they keep doing it. That's pretty cool. Although the bill hasn't rung this time, so there's a difference. Well, there's a big difference in this one. Things took a serious turn this time. Shia LaBeouf's in this movie. I did see his name at the start, but I've just seen Shia LaBeouf. He is in this movie, and he's looking for Indy? What's happening? Why is he looking for him? Also, Cate Blanchett's in this. I forgot to mention, Cate Blanchett is one of the villains in this. I don't know why, I just did not expect to see Cate Blanchett or Shia LaBeouf in an Indiana Jones movie. It just, I don't know, it's different. Okay, so it's explained a lot more now why Shia's character is after Indy, and I kind of like the direction they're taking. I'm intrigued. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do from this point, because at the moment I'm interested for sure. Also, Harrison Ford, even after 20 years, after being a lot older, he's still badass at being Indiana Jones. It's brilliant. I love a good chase scene, and this movie series has it in abundance. Another exciting one on a bike this time. When they reached the library, it's I laughed. It was quite a good scene. I have just witnessed killer ants, an army of killer ants eating a man alive. Yep. First of all, I forgot to mention that Ray Winston's in this. Always a legend. I always remember him for his Bet365 adverts. But yeah, anyway, the point is, Marion is in this movie. That was a nice surprise. I had no idea she'd be in this movie, partly because I never saw any trailers, but Marion's in this movie. It's nice to see her return. She was in the first movie, so it was nice to see Marion back. Nice to see Marion back. And I'm currently watching what I think is the finale. There's literally like 10 minutes left. I'm enjoying this though. I'm digging it. It's definitely the weakest of the trilogy. Oh, sorry, of the 4 movies. Obviously, this last 10 minutes could change my mind on that, but so far it's the weakest of the 4 movies. But I liked it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fine. I honestly thought it was fine. So it's getting very interesting right now. Something's spinning. That's all the context I'll give you. All right, and we are done. That finale was weird. Just weird. Alien. You know what? Let's not explain it. It was very weird. It might have been the weakest part of the movie. Not the very ending, but the climax, you know, to all the action. The very end. Like, the final scene was quite nice, but before that, the climax might be the weakest part of the movie. You know, there's a problem when the climax is the weakest part of a movie. That's where you know you've gone wrong. I still enjoyed it though. I still had a good time. I still wouldn't, like, I'd still watch this again. Like, I did enjoy it. I did prefer the other 3 for sure. If I was to rate them all, have I done this already in this video? I probably have. Let's re-rate them, unless I haven't rated them already. Maybe I'm just gonna, it's 4 AM, alright? Allow me. Alright, so yeah, if I was to rank them, 8, 8, 8, 7. There we go. I enjoyed all of them. I think the first one's the best one. The second and third were not far off. I think they're really enjoyable, really good. And the fourth one I felt was fine. I enjoyed it personally, just not as good as the rest, but I enjoyed it. But it does get a bit of hate. I can understand a few things as to why it gets so much hate. But yeah, it's the weirdest one. It's the most random one, and there are some scenes just don't make sense. But I had a good time, and the dynamic between Harrison Ford and Shia's character. I'm mentioning their actors' names rather than their character names, but the relationship between those two. There's a good twist in the middle as well. I thought that kind of carried the movie in a way, to be honest. But also seeing an older Indiana Jones also, I think, helped carry the movie as well. And I felt Cate Blanchett was quite cool as a villain as well. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Indiana Jones quadrilogy, and it was definitely worth a watch. And next, I'm going to try and watch all the Harry Potter movies. Might not be next week, but I'll get through them, and when I do, you will see a video. This is your boy Davidoff. Please like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Have a good day, and goodbye. This is quite a long movie Monday, isn't it? It's been a while since I've made a proper long one, just talking about the movies I'm watching. It's been fun, so I'm looking forward to doing the Harry Potter one for sure. See ya.